Hello everyone and welcome back. It's Gina from orchidandopal.com. Today back with the Eureka Crystal Beads collection for June 2024. It's called Summer Citrus and I cannot wait to open it up with you guys. Just from the sneak peek photo that I saw, it looks really fresh and bright, so it should be a lot of fun to play around with. Let's go ahead and open this up and we'll talk about the contents. All right, so our beautiful inspiration photo full of our different citrusy colors, which sets the stage for what we're about to look at. Now, let me just let you know, Eureka Crystal Beads collections, they come out periodically, and if they are new, occasionally released on the first Thursday of the month. They are not a subscription box or anything like that. You can just pick them up while they're available, like you're shopping for any other item. And they do have a tendency to sell out. So if you really want to get your hands on one of these, I definitely recommend going and getting that taken care of as soon as possible. You can also find the link for this collection right underneath the video. So that will take you right to it. And I'll also have the link for their entire collections page because they do have some additional collections available from their past offerings. All right, let's turn this over. There's a sneak peek of what it looks like inside this package. And I just have to say that these make great gifts. So if you know anyone in your life who also enjoys beading of any kind, you might want to consider one of these, which is full of high quality coordinating materials that are ready to go. And I know lots of people would love to get their hands on this type of a package. All right, I'm going to use that word I love to use, juicy. I'm seeing some juicy colors over here inside, but we'll get to all the beads in just a moment. Here is our description. It says, saturated bright colors give you a burst of energy and you can't help but giggle as you pucker your face when the zesty juice touches your tongue. You breathe in the intense scent that takes you somewhere green and exotic. A perfect refreshing splash of flavor on a scorching hot summer day. All right, so back with our image because we definitely need that summer citrus energy while we're opening this up. And inside of this insert, that is where you can find the list of all of the contents you're going to find in the collection. And everything is categorized. We've got some high quality Japanese seed beads, check glass beads, both single and multi-hole. Also some crystal. We've got their brand, which is Krakowski, some additional types of beads, some Chinese crystal, and some findings that we're going to go through. And if you pick up one of these collections and you're located in the US, there's no additional cost for shipping because all orders ship for free to the US if they're over $39.99. One other note before we get into the beads, you can see that SKU number off to the right-hand side. If you're curious as to what the specific color names are for these products, you can just type that into their search bar on their website and it'll take you right to those individual products. And the reason for that is because if they end up relaunching the collection at a later date, it's possible they could make some substitutions, but of course everything will be very similar and equivalent in value. So with all that out of the way, let's go ahead and open up our package and get started with the seed bead section. And let's begin with our Toho brand tubes. We have several different sizes and shapes of seed beads. The 8/0s in these rounds, which are in a really pretty berry color with an iridescent or luster coating on the outside, giving those a little bit of extra iridescent shine. In our second tube here, we also have some Toho round seed beads, this time in the size 11/0. You can see this particular one is the dark topaz frosted, so a little bit of a matte finish and a golden color with an orange undertone. And you can see some of that rainbow coating as well through that plastic tube. Then to our left, we have a tube of the Toho Treasures, which are just like the Miyuki Delica beads that are in that cylindrical shape. They snap together really nicely and are awesome for doing very precise beadwork and bezeling. And I really like the combination of colors we have here to get us started, mainly in these warm, fiery tones. And we have 2 other tubes of seed beads in this section as well. So it looks like we have another tube. These are in the size 11-0 round, and they are by Miyuki, another quality brand of seed beads. And this is a great color to add to the mix because it is in a gold, but it's got the slightest hint of a greenish, kind of a lime green undertone, which picks up a little bit of that citrus green from the palette in our inspiration photo. And it'll act as sort of a neutral as well, being that it's one of those galvanized metallic colors. And here's the 5th selection in our first grouping. And actually we have this bag and one more item. These are a Miyuki assortment of seed beads in this mix. We've got some 11-0 seed beads in various colors, like that bright pop of orange, a little bit of some matte frosty lime green. Those might be in some 15-0s actually. And we have some of those opaque beige luster 3mm bugle beads in there as well. So I'm looking at this as maybe part of our fruit salad. We have a great mix that really brings everything together pretty much in this one bag as far as the palette is concerned. And I think in addition to this, some bright pops of pink or pinkish coral would look really nice too. And then here is our 6th and final selection for the seed beads. These are really interesting. They're size 6-0, so they're the biggest ones of the bunch that we have. It says that there's approximately 10 grams in the bag, just like our other mix had 10 grams. And these are in the Preciosa check glass variety. Those are so neat. They've got the slightest appearance of texture, even though they're smooth and round on the outside. You can see that there's that opaque color that is just underneath the transparent glass, especially you can see those on the yellow ones where it almost looks like the outside is ribbed like a little melon bead. And there's also that contrast of the white glass that shows up around the whole location. Another mix too, so something that we can use all together, or you can pick out those colors and use these beads separately in your projects. This is such a fun palette, and I didn't say anything to them, but I did have a citrus theme as one of the contenders for a collection that I wanted to put together with them at some point, so it looks like we were on a similar wavelength. And this is such a happy and joyful palette. All right, let's get into our next section though. We have our check glass beads, and we begin with the 4mm fire polish in this lovely strand of 50 beads. Let's take these out and get a closer look. All right, so here are our lovely sparkly check 4mm fire polish beads with the mix of the yellow and that raspberry red, a little bit of orange, all coming together with a crystal clear glass. And this type of combination being one of my favorite types of the check fire polish beads. They're so fun and interesting to look at with the colors that run together and look a little bit different depending on how they're turned. Up next, we add another shape to the mix in the check glass. These are the faceted vertical teardrops in the 7x5mm size, and there's a total of 25. These are in a deeper transparent orange with the light picking up the faceting that you can see very uniformly pressed into each of these teardrops, the hole running up and down from the more narrow top to that wider round base. And you can see we're starting to get in some additional types of shapes to add to our other beads, like the seed beads, which are a great staple item in bead weaving especially, and then these add some additional interest and texture. All right, and then the third selection in that section are the 2x5mm super duos. These are a 2-hole check glass bead, of course, and the 2.5-inch tube in a nice neutral kind of light beige opaque color. So it's balancing out some of those brighter shades now with some of this light neutral. And be sure to follow them on YouTube, and also Stephanie at Bronze Pony, and of course myself if you haven't already, because we love to come up with projects for these collections. It's been a little while since I have, but between the three of us, there's usually a lot of ideas, not to mention what you all come up with creatively on your own and share. And then bagged up, we have our final item in that section. These are the 2-hole drop duo beads in the 3x6mm size, and these look to be in that apricot luster, which has a gorgeous warm caramel color, very shiny and smooth exterior, and that teardrop shape, which is one of those more narrow 2-hole beads, and the holes running parallel through the side, one going through the more narrow end and then the other right next to it going through that larger base. And our next section is called Krakowski Crystal. And Krakowski is Eureka Crystal Beads' brand of pearls and crystal stones, crystal beads, things that they have sourced and meet their quality standards. This strand being the first one in that section. We have 65 of the round pearls in the 6mm size. And I love that these are in that nice creamy neutral classic color as well. Just a hint of beige, maybe a slightly yellowish undertone, which adds more balance to the palette and will allow some of those brighter citrusy colors to pop. And these will also add a little bit of extra structure to some projects because of the fact that they are a slightly larger size than some of the other beads here seen so far. And this is the type of variety you can expect in the Eureka Crystal Beads collections. It's one of the reasons I love them so much, because they send you so many different things in one package that coordinate. They've taken all the thought and guesswork out of it and have put together a collection of beads that will coordinate well and are sure to spark some inspiration. Whether you're looking to follow tutorials or come up with your own special uses, I cannot recommend these collections enough. And then let's take these in for a moment. These gorgeous Krakowski crystal oval stones in the 13x18mm size. They have that extra luster and reflective quality that you can see as I move them around a little bit. It's so gorgeous how they get a little bit more of a golden yellow as you look toward the center of these stones and gradually fade to a light blush peach tone. They're also beautifully enameled on the back, as you can see, so they're great quality. And these are just a sampling of the types of items Eureka Crystal Beads has on their website. You're also welcome to pick up any of these products individually if you want to outside of the collection, but you do get a bit of a discount over retail cost if you pick up the collection with everything in it all ready to go. Next, we have these 4 stunners. These are the 8mm Krakowski Crystal Chaton stones, the smaller stones in that reddish pink tone. These 2 are cut beautifully and have that clean foiled back, as you can see, slightly pointed back there. And beautiful for incorporating in bead embroidery projects, and of course, more bead weaving. We've got our wonderful assortment of seed beads there for our bezeling of these stones, if that's what you wish to do with them. And these just add some more of that pinkish color that I think looks so beautiful with this palette too. And then the 4th and final selection in that section is a bag containing the Krakowski Crystal Bicone beads. These are in the small 3mm size, and we have 72 included. I'm loving this addition of that fresh light green, not quite a lime green, a bit more toned down than that. And they're still sparkly, but they have more of a frosty look to them. This adds another unique shape into the collection and a little bit more of the green with some of our warm citrus tones. And then next up we have our other beads section, and these are so fun, especially those handmade polymer clay beads in that little fruity mix. We've got tons of those too on that strand. Doesn't quite say how many, but it is a lot to work with. And you get a number of each of those different unique shapes and pieces of fruit with all those summery colors. Look at the little grapes. the grapefruit and oranges, watermelon, apples, lemon, kiwi. Oh my goodness, those are so fun and remind me of how it's fun to get kids involved in beading projects too. So if you pick this up, I can see these especially being appealing, no pun intended, to the younger folks in your life. Oh my goodness, look at the little dragon fruit. Those are adorable. Strawberry. All right, and then our next strand is containing the mother of pearl 5mm flat irregular square nuggets. Another very summery selection, and really great too because those add some more of that neutral beige, which coordinates with the pearls, the Miyuki bugle beads, and also the super duos. These will add some great chunky texture as well since they're all a little bit different. And of course, since they're mother of pearl, they've got that satiny shine on much of the surface area. I went ahead and took a lot of these out of the bags already, but as you can see, this is our very last selection of beads in our Chinese crystal section. This strand contains the 3x2mm rondelles in this very electric pop of orange with a hint of iridescent showing up on part of the beads, making them extra shiny and eye-catching and adding a little bit of additional color play to the surface too. I like that these bring in some bright orange to the palette. And these are one of my favorite Chinese crystal shapes to work with, these 3x2 rondelles, because even though they're not checked glass, they're still very consistent in their size, and you get a lot of bang for your buck if you add these into your projects because they are a little less pricey. So it's one way to bring in some additional great looking beads at a lower cost. And they have tons of strands like this on their website too in all sorts of different colors. All right, this palette is so fun and vibrant, and I love it even more looking at everything on the bead mat. And it brings us to our final section, which includes the findings. We have 6 different items that we'll take a look at, and they seem to be mainly in some antique copper and maybe some lighter copper or rose gold. And it looks like they've included a lot of great staples. Very useful and handy items to have on hand. Those first 2 items that you can see here, the magnetic disc clasp, it's an 8mm size and it just pulls apart, has a loop on either side to attach to your beadwork. And the magnet has a decent amount of surface area, so it's pretty strong, which is definitely what you want if you are wearing that or giving that as a gift. And they've also included some head pins, maybe to use in some earring projects. Those are the 21 gauge and the 1.5 inch size, and there are a total of 40 there included in that antique copper color. These are also very useful if you wanted to make some beaded charms or put together a cluster of beaded links. So there's actually several different ways you could use these and incorporate them into the coordinating projects. Our next 2 items are the ear wires with the 2mm ball detail and the antique copper. These are the 25mm size, and it's 1 pair. As you can see, very simple, but a handy item nonetheless. And we also have a pack of 20 of the 6mm little floral bead caps here, which are so sweet, looking like little orange blossoms with that 5-petal curved shape. And then our final 2 items in that section and for the collection as a whole are the 1-foot segment of 3mm plated Rollo chain with those nice round wide open links and a selection of 4mm 21 gauge jump rings. That was a pack of 50 there that you can see in that shiny brighter copper color. And this makes me think, along with those head pins and those fruit beads, you could make a really cute cluster or charm bracelet using those, having them dangle off the Rollo chain directly. I think that would be so sweet. Maybe mix in some of the glass beads too, just as one idea off the top of my head. All right, and that wraps it up for the beautiful and juicy Summer Citrus Collection by Eureka Crystal Beads. What a fun, summery, and inspiring assortment we have here with tons of project potential as usual. I can't wait to see what everyone comes up with from this collection, and I hope to do the same, although I feel like I'm perpetually playing a little bit of catch up these days, but I'm going to get there. I'm determined. And as a reminder, you can find the link to this collection if you want to pick one up on Eureka's website. That link is right down below the video in the description section. And you're welcome to pick up more than one collection. You can mix and match them. And sometimes they offer bundles where you can pick up multiple collections for an even slightly lower price. But you can find out all of those details on their website as you're seeing what they have to offer. So I want to thank you all so much for being here with me to unbox this summary collection. I'd love to hear your thoughts about it. So please feel free to leave a comment down below. As a reminder, this is not a subscription package, so by picking one up, you're not starting a subscription to anything. It is just a single-time purchase, and they are available for a limited time. If you enjoyed this video, please feel free to give it a big thumbs up. Also, don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and feel free to share the video with your other beading friends. That is all for this time, but I'll see you all again real soon, and until then, I hope you all have a fabulous rest of your day, and as always, happy beading.